Hi knitters, welcome back to another tutorial information session, whatever you might want to call it, with me, Kristen of Maybe a Better One at Knits. Today we are going to talk about ease. What is it, why you need to know about it, and what you need to know about it. So whether you're a new knitter or you've been knitting for a while, ease may be baffling to you because it's one of those things that is just not very well explained when we start knitting. And it's also something that really wasn't addressed for a long time in knitting patterns. As we've had more indie designers coming into pattern design, we have had, via kind of social media, a better connection between knitters and knitting pattern designers. So we're getting more feedback, understanding the information that people need to know, working to improve patterns. And so this is something that is kind of more in the forefront now. But I think we could still use a bit of an explainer. So ease basically is the difference between your body measurements and the measurements of your finished garment. So if the finished garment is bigger than your body measurement, that is positive ease. If the finished garment is smaller than your body measurement, that's negative ease. And if they're exactly the same, that's zero ease. And so the reason you need to know about ease is because it is going to affect the way that a finished garment fits you. Most people do not want to have a finished garment that is exactly the same as their body measurements. Now, when I first started knitting, that's what I did because, again, this is something that wasn't explained very well. So most sweater sizes, finished measurements are given according to bust size. And so I would pick the bust size that was closest to mine, 34, and that's what I would knit. It's not 34 anymore, but that's a different story. So that's what I would knit because I had no idea really anything about ease, what I was looking for. So I just figured if they said that was 34, then I was a size 34, that's what I should knit. It doesn't actually work that way. For some garments, you actually will want some negative ease. For most sweaters, you want at least a little bit of positive ease. The ease in a pattern is usually, if it is given based on bust. So the pattern might say something like recommended ease 4 to 6 inches at the bust. But it's actually a little bit more complicated than that. So I want to show you an example. This is a pattern that I'm currently knitting for myself. This is Calio, a beautiful sweater by Elizabeth Doherty. And so in her pattern, she gives some really comprehensive information. She gives you the garment circumference at the bust. That is the measurement for the finished garment after it has been knit, washed, blocked. That's its final measurement. So she's giving you what that measurement is. Then she's giving you the suggested ease. So 6 to 10 inches at the bust for a cropped version, 3 to 6 for a full-length version. And then she's also, which I think is very helpful, giving you some information about ease at the upper arm. So the ease throughout your garment is going to change. You might want 4 inches of ease at the bust. You probably do not want 4 inches of ease at the upper arm. So, I mean, your sleeve is going to be hanging down here. So you are going to probably want more ease at the bust than you want in your upper arm. You want more ease at the waist, perhaps, than that maybe even that you want at the bust. For example, you might be working on a sweater pattern that is very close fitting at the bust, but do you want it to be, really close fitting in the middle of your waist? Maybe not. That's certainly not what I look for. So most garments are going to be designed to have different amounts of ease at different parts of the body. Um, the reason that a designer will provide suggested ease is to give you an indication of how much ease you should be looking for in order to get your garment to fit the same way that it fits the model in the pattern. So usually if you're looking for a sweater pattern, you find one that you like and you think it looks great on, whoever's modeling it, but then if you knit it for yourself and it doesn't fit you the same way, that's going to be kind of a disappointment. So they're going to try to guide you in how much ease that you want. And so not only does Elizabeth Doherty provide you with a suggested ease, she is also telling you how much ease is shown in the pictures. So this is really well done. This is what you want to look for in your patterns, in your sweater patterns. In some cases, this may not be possible. For example, if I publish a pattern with interweave knits, I have no idea how much ease is being shown on their model. So if they don't tell me, then when I get the pattern back from them, the rights come back to me and I republish it independently, I'm not going to know how much ease is in that photo, and I'm not going to be able to tell you. When I model for my own patterns, I will tell you how much ease is being shown in the picture, or if I have my sister do it, I will show you how much ease is being shown in the picture, and I will also give you a suggested ease at the bust. However, like I said, a garment is going to have different amounts of ease throughout the body. A designer is almost never going to give you a suggested ease for the bust and the waist and the hips and the upper arms. That's not usually how it works. So the ease at the bust is your guideline. That said, it is a really good idea to take a look at the schematic of a sweater pattern that you are interested in. And I'm going to tell you right now, if your sweater pattern does not have a schematic with finished measurements for bust, waist, hips if it's different for the bust, upper arm, and yoke depth or armhole depth, you should not buy that pattern. All sweater patterns should have a schematic that shows at least those measurements, because that's going to help you figure out how the sweater should fit or how you want it to fit. But as I was saying, take a look at the schematic for the sweater pattern that you're interested in and look at all of the measurements for the size you think you want to knit. Seeing this more often, if you're buying your patterns on Ravelry, a lot of times the designers will have the schematic as one of the photos. If they don't, I would highly recommend that you try contacting the designer directly to ask for the schematic. And designers really should not have a problem providing that ahead of time. One, if you know what you're looking for, it's going to actually help you determine whether the pattern is written very well. But more importantly, it's going to help you figure out ahead of time, before you buy the pattern, whether it's really sized for you, and also how much yarn you're going to need, so that you can decide whether that's something you want to spend your money on or not. All right, so the reason I'm going to recommend that you get the schematic and you look at all of the measurements is that while most of the time the recommended ease at the bust is going to be helpful for you in deciding your size, if you are very well endowed, meaning if you are, generally speaking, a D cup or larger, you may not need to knit a larger size sweater to get more ease. What you may need actually is to add bust darts to your sweater. So if you're looking at the schematic and you can see all the measurements and you can see that, size X is going to give you 4 inches of ease at the hips and at the waist, and it's going to give you 1 inch of ease in the upper arm, and the yoke depth or the armhole depth is right, and it's just the bust where you're not getting enough ease, that's a good indicator that you actually need to put bust darts in that pattern, not that you need to knit a bigger size to get the ease that you want. So if you are able to, check that schematic and make sure that whatever size you think you should be knitting, you have the information that you need. You know, you might look at the Ravelry page and be like, okay, 4 inches of ease at the bust, I need to knit the size, 52. But what you really need to do is to knit the size 48 and add bust darts. And that's something you should know ahead of time before you buy the pattern, because maybe you're not ready to add bust darts to a sweater, or you don't want to buy enough yarn for the size 52 when you only need enough yarn for the size 48, things like that. So it's really helpful to get the schematic ahead of time. If you still are not sure about ease, the general guideline is that a sweater that has between 0 and -2 inches, that's a very tight fitting sweater. So this is going to be the kind of sweater, this is a 50s sweater girl, Marilyn Monroe type sweater. 0 to 2 inches of ease, that's still pretty close fitting. 2 to 4 inches, that's kind of your average fitting sweater. You've got room to move around, but it's not loose or oversized. 4 to 6 inches, that's getting sort of the more casual fit, and anything more than 6 inches of ease is kind of going to be a loose fitting sweater, assuming that's ease at the bust. So if your whatever it is has 6 inches of ease at the bust, but also 6 inches of ease at the upper arm, that's like an oversized, boyfriend sweater. That's kind of different. That's a different style. So again, checking that schematic is a good way to figure out how things are going to fit you, and whether that's really the style you want. And then the last thing I wanted to say about ease is that if you're really still not sure you have a handle on it, the best way to figure out how much ease you want in your sweater is to find a sweater, that's in your closet that you love and you wear all the time, and you're really happy with how it fits you, and measure it. Measure what its finished measurements are at the bust, at the waist, at the hips, and even the upper arm. And that's going to tell, and then compare that to what your measurements are. And that's going to tell you your personal preference for ease in a sweater. So again, most people are going to want their sweater to fit more or less like the model, but you're also entitled to make sweaters to fit you exactly the way you want. That's the whole reason we started knitting, right? So that we can get things that fit us the way we want and look the way we want, and aren't just off the rack at the store. So if you already know how much ease you like to have in different parts of your body, then you will be equipped to pick the closest size that's available in the pattern, and then make any minor modifications that are necessary to get the fit exactly the way you want. So that is a really quick overview of what ease is and why you need to know about it, and what on earth it means when you're looking at it in the pattern. If you are interested in more about how to get sweaters that fit you, how to modify sweaters so that they fit you, all of that sweater goodness, I will encourage you to check out my e-course, Sweater Siren. It will be offered live in the summer. It is a 4-week e-course all about sweaters. And if you hop over to the page now, which I'm going to link down below in the information box, you can go ahead and put your email address to be notified when enrollment opens for the course. So if you found this tutorial helpful, I hope you will like it, share it with others, subscribe to the YouTube channel, all of that good stuff that will help expand the reach of Made Brother Wanted Knits YouTube channel. I will see you guys next time.